One-way sensitivity analysis. Swings, roundabouts and tornadoes. Across this series we explain one-way sensitivity analysis, turning one model input at a time to see whether a health technology decision still holds. Our concrete case. A new drug compared with standard care, plotted on the cost-effectiveness plane. Rightwards means more effective, upwards means more costly. Standard care sits at the origin. It is the comparator, so zero extra cost and zero extra QALYs. The new drug costs £12,000 more per patient and gains half a QALY. £12,000 divided by half a QALY gives an ICER of £24,000 per QALY. The usual yardstick runs from 20 to 30,000 per QALY. This dashed line marks the 30,000 end. Zoom in. At 30,000 our dot sits just under the line, but at 20,000 it would sit just over it. So the answer lands in the gray zone, and that is a bit too close for comfort. And every number behind that dot could have been dialed in differently. Think of each model input as a dial we set to our best estimate. The price of the drug, dialed in at £8,000 a course. The health gain, dialed in at 0.5 QALYs. And the discount rate, dialed in at 3.5%. One-way sensitivity analysis turns exactly one of these dials and holds every other one perfectly still. Suppose the true gain were nearer 0.3. The dial turns, and the ICER moves with it. One dial at a time, so there is no need to get bent out of shape. One way or another, we're gonna vary you, and next time we turn that dial and watch the ICER wiggle. Now that we have seen why we vary one input at a time, let's turn the crank and watch the ICER wiggle. Our base case ICER is $28,000 per QALY, the calm eye of the storm. Every swing we draw from here pivots around this one number. The dashed line is our threshold, 30,000 per QALY, the most we're willing to pay. Cross to the right of it, and the treatment stops being good value. First the drug price, 20% down, then 20% up, with everything else held still. The ICER runs from 19,000 to 37. An $18,000 swing. This one is gale force. Now put the price back at base case and wiggle the treatment effect instead. 23,000 at best, 34 at worst. 11,000 wide, a stiff breeze, but not a gale. And the utility gain barely stirs the air, 26,500 to 29,500. A 3,000 swing, a storm in a teacup. Let's zoom in on where these bars meet the dashed line. Price and effect both push the ICER past the threshold, so either one can flip the decision. The utility bar never reaches it, so that assumption can sleep soundly. Widest bar on top. The drug price is the input worth arguing over. Swings and roundabouts, but only one of these swings takes the decision for a ride. Now that we have seen one dial swing our ICER from $24,000 to $38,000 per QALY, let's weigh what that swing is really worth. Here's where we will land. One-way analysis is a good scout, but it is not the whole forecast. First point in its favor. It is cheap and transparent, one dial at a time, and any committee member can follow it. No black box, no hand waving. The tornado plot is, genuinely, a breeze to read. Second, it names the parameter worth researching next, and tells the payer exactly where to haggle on price. If utility after treatment drove that whole swing, that is where the next study, and the next negotiation, should go. Now the objection. One-way analysis has a one-track mind, twisting a single dial while every other input politely sits still. In our example, the relative risk moved alone to 38,000, but the real world never varies one thing at a time. And parameters have strings attached. A costlier drug often travels with sicker patients, so they move together. Vary them one by one and you miss those correlations entirely. So joint uncertainty is understated, and when the base case sits close to the $30,000 threshold, you must call in probabilistic sensitivity analysis. That is the verdict. One-way scouts, probabilistic analysis forecasts the whole storm. Across the series, one way or another we varied every input. We watched the swings and roundabouts of a single wiggle, and now we know not to put all our icers in one basket. Vary one dial to see what matters, then vary them all to see whether the decision holds.